Who?
Lee?
Who's he?
I have no idea. I don't know. I was here for about 2 hours. It's a long day.
Yeah. They were friendly and everything.
Yeah. Yes. I got a little bit of one-on-one time with Robin a little bit, so that was nice.
Good.
But they're doing a lot of construction outside of Kiva, so it's not so easy to like get to the ballroom. It's like walk all the way like behind, almost by the Mac. Go that way instead of like going down by the bus stop.
So how you doing? I'm Dan Leslie.
Hi, I'm Marcus.
Marcus? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing? Dan Leslie.
Hi, Kinsey Macker.
Kinsey?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Might just be the two of you guys today.
I know there's at least one more guy coming. He's running a little bit late, but he should be here.
They were here to help, so whatever we can do. If you guys want, if you guys want to come down up front here,
Yeah,
a little closer, just in case if there's 3 or 4, that's fine. We'll wait until.
Did you guys drive down from Cleveland?
Akron.
Akron?
Well,
Oh, so you're
our
close.
offices are really like Fairlawn.
Okay.
Like up on the hill where like Stick on the Stone is. And
Okay.
Are you familiar with that at all?
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
where that's at.
So that's our office.
I have some friends that live right around the corner from there in the housing developments and stuff.
Oh, okay.
The condos back there.
Yeah. It's a good area.
So you guys are law students?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow, 2 whole students.
We got,
Another one's coming.
we got 2.
Good.
He's gonna go over some of this stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. You're welcome.
I guess everyone else must have jobs already.
I guess so.
Is that it? All right, let's give it a few more minutes because class is let out at 12:15.
Perfect.
So we'll just
I can
wait.
guarantee one more guy's coming. He's just.
Okay, good.
Maybe he's trying to find a parking spot.
Yeah, parking
Because
is
we drove around earlier.
terrible. You just gotta know where to park.
Where do you park?
There's a parking deck across.
By the police station?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's down there. There's one level that apparently people don't realize it's there. So you have to enter like the back and then go down a level. So it's like it doesn't have like a street entrance. So there's always like a dozen parking spots down there. But then you can walk underneath the skyway and then cut through to
But
the
that's
school.
kind of creepy at night. I mean, now it's not so bad because it's so light when we go home, but
Yeah. Well, I don't
Yeah.
have anything on me anybody want to steal anyway. So.
yeah, but they wouldn't know that before they confront you for it. I think it's different for a guy than it is
Especially
for a
people
woman.
coming out of the jail. Huh? Where is that the jail too, or is it just the police station?
It's just a police station.
Where's is there?
But
a
I
jail?
do-
Well,
they do hold
there's some
people there,
holding,
yeah.
there's some holding stuff going on there. Then when they're done holding them, you know, they let them out.
Yeah. Perfect.
So,
That's funny.
yeah.
Hi.
Go ahead.
How's it going?
Good, how are you guys?
Good.
Okay, is this the one more guy that you
No.
know was coming?
So is it just law classes in this building, or do you guys, is there like maybe an English class or something?
Just law classes.
Thank you.
I didn't hear any thunder in the middle of the night. Is it thunder anywhere?
I don't think so.
They showed that line of storms moving from like Indiana and
Didn't hear.
then definitely got cold.
I can't really hear much right now anyway. I've been, so I'm gonna make that disclaimer before we get
This
started.
is true.
I've had an ear infection now for going on 3 weeks, so I do not hear anything out of my right ear. So,
How'd you get that?
How'd you get
I
that?
went to bed fine one night, woke up, and I couldn't hear my right ear.
It'll clear up, right?
I'm praying every day because it's really
It's
so.
concerning, yeah.
Hi.
So I went to the ear specialist last week. I'm going in today.
They put you on something?
Yeah. I've got nothing. Constant buzzing in your ear.
You're fine. No. Kind of get out of this. I'm eating.
So what I made, it's all right when we get started, I made shut those doors because
Yeah, I can do that.
that, that background noise
Yeah.
screwed me up. There's a reason you have 2 years and not one.
Yeah.
Gotta figure that out.
Anything until you,
Well, I have a 2-year-old son, and he likes to get our phones and stuff. So my wife couldn't find her phone, so I was calling her phone yesterday, and it was ringing, and I could hear it, but as soon as I could get close to it, I couldn't find it, because I don't have,
right,
could not find it. Ended up, it was in the trash can.
Have you put it there?
I don't know, probably.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
It's better than dropping it in the toilet.
Better, I'm gonna blame it on him.
Right. All right, well, let's get started, because I know some people have to.
I don't know how official your videotape here you want it to be, or
It's already going.
it's going? Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and, you know, whenever I come to the University of Akron and Kent State and a number of different colleges here in Northeast Ohio. I probably do about 20 talks a semester. And I do it for a couple of reasons. One is I enjoy it, and I think that there's a lot that I have to offer from my experience to folks like you, because I've just come through that. I'm 15 years out of school now, achieved some success, I've done a lot of things, made a lot of mistakes, so I think there's some things I can share with you to help you. But secondly is we're always looking for great people. I mean, I think that the key to business today is to identify talented people that share common values in order for us to mutually prosper. I should probably do that before we get started too. So let me turn this off. So, let me put this on. So, since it's just a small group, I'm going to be kind of informal here today. Coming in and talking, there's a few things I wanted to do. Well, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Dan Leslie. I'm the Managing Director with the Northwestern Mutual Financial Network. I think you guys have a little bio there. And this is Amy McMullen. Amy is my recruiter, but Director of Recruiting and Selection is really what she does, because she doesn't just recruit people. She helps people make career choices for themselves and their families. So she's got a very big responsibility. So just to tag her as a recruiter, I don't think would be a proper title. But a few things we wanted to do today. Number one is what I wanted to share with you. Just a couple of things I've learned, really about I think career choices and some of the things that you have to. That's important to get your arms around as you're making some decisions right now. I know you guys have made a decision to come to law school, which I think is great. When I got started in this business, just to digress a little bit, I started 15 years ago last month in this business, and one of the first groups of people I started calling on were attorneys. And today I have probably 300-400 attorneys as clients. They're some people thought I was crazy to get in the attorney market because attorneys aren't the easiest people to work with in some ways. In other ways, they're great. And so I liked it. And I have a lot of friends who are attorneys, and finding an attorney, I got a lot of people I can call. So that's good. But the other thing I guess I should share with you is just you know, you made the decision to go to law school. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be an attorney. I'm going to share with you a few thoughts around that, I guess is my point, okay? And then secondly, I want to get into some of the opportunities specifically that are in our industry, in particular with our company and our organization, and share with you a few things there. And then finally, wrap up with some questions, and I always bring an opportunity with me whenever I come, and that's one of the things you guys have here today. And one of the opportunities I have to share with you is, if you're intrigued at all about the things we talked about today, I'm going to offer to sit down with each of you individually and talk about whatever you'd like to talk about in regards to your career planning, whether it's, hey Dan, I think this might be a good fit for me, I want to get in the interview process with Amy, or I just want to talk off the record, or just whatever. Okay, so I'm going to do that for you guys if you want to take me up on that. Okay, so and then as we go, you know, feel free to ask me some questions. I'll answer them. We can take this however you want. And there's, you know, 5 of you, so it's actually I don't mind that at all. This is good. Okay. So first thing I guess I'll share with you, and I just want to frame this up a little bit for you. We're seeing a lot of stuff out there right now. Amy interviews a lot of people. I'm on a number of different boards in town. Most of them have to do with you know, entrepreneurism, economic development, job creation, workforce development. I'm on some kind of workforce development board. And there's a common theme that's out there right now. And the theme is that if you're a business owner and an entrepreneur, one of the biggest challenges is finding good people. And that seems so counterintuitive to what you see on the headline of the newspaper, because the newspaper says everybody's out of jobs. And I think that the problem is right now is that there's just a little bit of a disconnect between where the jobs are and what in our minds has constituted you know, safe, secure jobs that we've looked to in the past. And one of the things that I guess I'll pull into this conversation here is just a little bit of a topic on leadership. And if you think about leadership, sometimes I think we make too much out of leadership. We hear the topic of leadership, we think, okay, a CEO of a big company, or you know, somebody who's leading groups of people. But if you think about it, you guys are really positioning yourselves. You're your own leader. You're going to have a family. Some of you might have a family already. You're going to have a family someday. You're going to be the leader of your family. You're going to be the leader of, you know, your piece of the community you're part of. And you guys, the decisions you're making right now are critical to positioning yourselves to become leaders. And I share this with you because as I learned a little bit about leadership, one of the things I've learned about leadership is that leadership's not necessarily, you're not necessarily born with it. As a matter of fact, if you look at great leaders, whether they're, you take Churchill, for example. You know, Churchill was known as a great leader, but in reality, Churchill was not a natural leader. As a matter of fact, he was not a very good orator at all. He was known to have to practice for hours on end just to give a 30-second radio address. And but the key to somebody like Churchill, and if you look at great leaders, is they've understood the terrain that they have in their life. And I'm going to challenge you guys to start to think about your life as terrain. And the terrain that's out in front of you today may be very differently than the terrain that was in front of your parents, your grandparents, aunts, uncles, other people that you've talked to for advice. And the terrain is made up of a lot of different things. It's made up of your own unique circumstances in your life that are going on right now. Some things you have control of, some things you don't. And the terrain is also made up of things that are much further in the distance. You know, what's going on in the economy? What are the opportunities in the world today? Where are the demographics moving? What do people demand? What are the services that are needed out there? And so I'm going to challenge you guys to look at this just a little differently and say to yourself, okay, well, perhaps, 10 or 15 years ago, the terrain was, if I'm going to go into law school, I may look to get into a big law firm. Barbara and I were talking over lunch. My uncle and she went to Cornell together. He pursued law, you pursue law, and that was a good fit for them. But today, is that necessarily the right fit? And I think the answer could be certainly yes. But I want to share with you a little bit about our career and some of the things that I'm seeing out there and that we know are a fact about the terrain of our country and the lives that we're living today. And the first thing I want to share with you is the opportunity that's in our industry. And this is where we fill a huge void for people. You guys, unless you've been living under a rock, right? We've been through an economic recession and a crisis and all that good stuff. And those things that happen, these are earth-shattering events. The past couple of years, this isn't just a little bit of an aftershock, to use an earthquake analogy. This was a major event that's changed people's thinking and perceptions and how they feel about their families, how they feel about risk, how they feel about their future. And I can tell you that having been in the business that we're in over the past 15 years, it's changed dramatically. When I started 15 years ago, I started in this business as a financial advisor at Northwestern Mutual when the bull market was just getting started. People thought that they could invest money anywhere. You didn't need to really know anything. Risk didn't exist. A lot of the attorneys I was calling on, they thought they were going to save and invest in the most aggressive stuff they could, and they were going to retire in 3 to 5 years and be done, right? I mean, every other attorney you talk to, that wasn't their thing. They said, well, Dan, why do I need you? I can, there used to be a thing on the Wall Street Journal where they would have well, I think they did two. They did one where there was a monkey throwing darts at stocks versus, the professionals, and half the time the monkeys would win. And it was just so bizarre. It was just a bizarre world. And so there was this perception that it's easy. Achieving financial security is easy. And that changed like that overnight. And the first kind of momentum and big seismic shift was March of 2000 when the technology bubble burst. You might have heard of that. When this, all these tech companies, everybody thought they were going to get rich on, all of a sudden people realized there wasn't the earnings there. And there wasn't the business plans, and there wasn't the substance behind it. And then shortly after that was September 11th. And that sent another seismic shift through the world and through people's mindsets that there is risk in the world. That was obviously a very unique event. And then subsequently we had a couple of pretty tough years. Those were tough years for people. But a few years there things got a little better, and people have very short memories. And so people started reverting back to the idea that, financial security is easy. Becoming financially independent, isn't that hard, doesn't take much of a plan. And then all of a sudden we had June of 2007, which started this economic recession. And I can tell you, there's very few people out there today, if you sit down and talk to them, no matter how successful they are, what they do for a living, that wouldn't share with you some concerns. I mean, people are concerned. And so if you take this whole landscape that's really happened, and if we could package this up, you've got a whole economy out there. As a matter of fact, we know if we draw a 50-mile square radius around our office in Akron, Ohio, we're actually in Montrose, up on the hill in Montrose is where our office is. If we draw a 50-mile square radius, we know there's 5.5 million people that you can reach in about a 45-50-minute drive. That's how many people are in this area. If you draw a 350-mile radius around our office, there's 200 million people within a 350-mile radius of Akron, Ohio. 2/3 of the entire population of the United States. Think about that. A lot of people don't think of that when they think of Akron, Ohio. Okay? Well, so if you think it through that, then you think through, okay, all these people are desperately in need of advice. They're desperately in need of somebody to help them make sense of what's going on out there. Somebody to help them make sense of the most common practical goals that they have, whether that's to make sure their children have a better future than they did, whether their kids could go to school, whether they could be able to retire one day, whether they want to build their business, expand their business, grow their business. These are things that people they're dying for advice on. They're like I've never seen. And then on top of it, you throw in Northwestern Mutual. And so not only are they creating the advice, and are they creating resources to help them achieve their goals, but now you bring in our company. And Northwestern Mutual, just to give you a little background, has been around since 1857, and it's considered one of the most financially stable institutions in the world. As a matter of fact, it's one of only 11 companies in the world that has the highest ratings from all the rating services that rate companies today. Only 11 companies have those ratings, and Northwestern is one of them. And so we think that's very, very unique. So not only do we have this huge demand for what we do and what we provide, but we've also just come through a period where over half of our competition has taken it on the chin, and many of them aren't even here today. When I was new in the business, if I came across somebody that said, well, Dan, I've got a Merrill Lynch account, I was like, oh man, how am I going to get them to listen to me? Well, today, if I get somebody who says they got a Merrill Lynch account, I'm not, we could put lots of names in there. We're usually going to get that business. And it's a huge opportunity because people are concerned. They know that they've dealt with companies that maybe weren't upfront with them. They know they've thought about banks as a safe haven for their money, and they're ready to change their paradigm on what that safe haven is. They've seen banks that they thought were financially viable go under. They've seen their houses that they thought were always going to grow in value decline 20–30%. And so these types of things have positioned us very, very well. And so Northwestern Mutual, just to go back to that for a minute, is a $160 billion company. And essentially what's unique about Northwestern Mutual is even though we rank, I think we're like 110 on the Fortune 500 list today, even though we rank up there, we're not a publicly traded company. You can't buy stock in Northwestern Mutual. Our policy owners and our clients own the company. So think of this. Think of the story that we're telling today. Mr. and Mrs. Client, not only can you do business with us, but there is no conflict in interest. We do not have shareholders and stockholders that we're having to pay profits to and to take unnecessary risks to try to reward, right? Because that's what happened with a lot of these companies. You guys are one and the same. So the products and services that you work with us on, you guys own part of the company that provide those products and services. And guess what? It cuts out that sort of that middleman, that stockholder. It eliminates the conflicting interests, and people are very, very happy with that arrangement. So this mutual company concept, the mutual in the name of Northwestern Mutual actually means something. And that mutual means that it's not publicly traded, that we're actually owned by our clients and our policy owners. Okay? So those things are very unique. So when we're out there today talking with people and they have the demand for the advice and the services we provide, and we tell them the Northwestern Mutual story, and then you guys having had a little bit of legal background and gone to law school, and you can tell your clients and your prospects that you've learned how to analyze things and solve problems and communicate and help them uncover the things that are important to them. You guys are going to be very, very well positioned to be an advisor that people want to work with. Now, here's the one thing I've learned over the years when I was working with a lot of these attorneys. A lot of them were younger attorneys and starting out. It's tough starting out as an attorney. I mean, if you're going to start out as an attorney and hang your shingle out there, if you're not going to get with a big firm, it's tough because there's certain rules that apply to attorneys that don't apply to our business. So a lot of the guys that I started with when they started their law practices, it took them a long time to get going because they couldn't practically pick up the phone and get out there and meet people. Whereas in our business, if you've got that interest in marketing yourself and meeting people and pressing the flesh, this is a business so you can proactively do that. You can make things happen. And so rather than sitting back and waiting for that clientele to come to you and to find you, you can go out there and choose who you want to build your clientele with. And so, for example, even today, this is something I've done over the years, but even today, I have a list of people that in town, in the area, in the country that I want as a client. And I figure out how I'm going to meet them and how I'm going to get in front of them, and we go after them, and we get them as a client. Now, we don't get all of them. We get some of them. It's a pretty cool deal. Whereas as an attorney, it's a little tougher to do that. You have a lot of advertising, a lot of overhead, things like that. Not that it's a bad thing. There's a lot of people that are very successful at it, but it's just a little more challenging. If you get with a law firm, you get with a big firm, that helps you with that. But that's one of the challenges I've seen with kind of hanging the shingle out there. Seen some guys do it, guys and gals do it. but it's tough. It's tough. It takes some time. So that's a difference. You know, so I think you guys, with your legal background and going to law school, I think you guys are going to have the ability to really sell your communication ability, your problem-solving capacity, your understanding of the legal world and how that works. It provides you credibility. I think it just gives you guys such an interesting opportunity that if you didn't have that law school background, you just don't have. Now, just to answer the question here, do we have anybody in our firm right now with a legal background? Yeah, Jeff Wagner is our employee benefits specialist. He has his practice. He also heads up our employee benefits department. He's an attorney. He went to law school. He's been with us for 25 years. I can tell you he's the only one locally I've got, okay? But I can tell you that across the country in our other offices, some of the most successful people in our company are people that had legal backgrounds. Some of the most successful ones. And basically all they do is they've taken the idea that, listen, I'm going to help people in my legal practice, but if I did it over here on the financial advising side, I can be proactive with it. I can build it the way that I want. I don't have to necessarily just trade my hours for time. You know, because you only have so many hours. Hours for money. You only have so many hours in a day, right? So they realize they can leverage themselves. You could make a very good high seven-figure income in this business, and you could do it and be sane. You know, I know there's attorneys making seven, but it's. I mean, so you can make a lot of money in this business. We have interns that are making that make more money than first year law hires, for law school in our business. So you can make good money. You can build a nice practice. So I'm just rambling a little bit on that because I think that's the opportunity for you guys sitting here today. Is you chose to be in law school. I think it's a great thing that you're here. Now that you're here, okay, now how do you decipher this? Is getting into a typical law practice the way to do it? It might be. It certainly might be. But I'm just suggesting, look at the terrain that's out there. The demand for the advice that we give, the demand for the products that we have, the fact that people know that they're not going to be able to rely on Social Security and the government to take care of them, the fact that people recognize that there's risk in the world more than ever today, the fact that our clients are telling us they have a bigger and bigger appreciation for safer dollars. They're not looking to speculate like they used to. They realize that that's not the way they're going to achieve financial security for themselves. And it's perfect. It's just like the sun, the moon, and the stars are all lining up for it. And if it's something that at all, sort of interests you, or you think you might want to talk further about, we'd love to have you in, and we'll do that. And that's really part of the reason we're here today. And that's the opportunity we wanted to bring, is to give you that chance to come in and learn more about it. But I rambled on here just a little bit on some things. I wanted to cover just a couple of these little topics I have. What questions do you guys have? If you don't have any, I've got a couple other things I can share with you, but I just wanted to check and see if there's any questions. Yeah?
Yeah, your company's so big, and you said you can kind of choose your own clients. Is there like a floor, like for clients you target them by income or by, is it like, I work for a financial planning company, and they said they would take anybody. If you have $500 to invest, we can try and help you out. Do you guys have like a minimum level of people that you target, or how does that work?
Well, that's a good question. The answer is no, we don't. Okay, and that is a very that does speak to a little bit of our strategy. Okay, there are some big name financial planning firms out there that have instituted certain floors, meaning that unless you got $500,000 of assets to invest, we don't really want you because you're not profitable. Okay, now we don't think that's the right thing to do, because we get a lot of clients sitting down with them when nobody else is calling them. If I go back to my business, so my most successful clients I have today were the people that worked with me my very first year, that were out of school, and they had $100, $200 to save, and today they're making big money. So we like those people. What we look for, more importantly than just how much money somebody has or how much income they necessarily have, is we look for 3 to 4 key characteristics in a client. Okay, and we think this is much more valuable to build a practice with over time. The first is we want to work with people that have economic potential. Okay, So, doesn't necessarily mean that they're making, you know, $1 million a year right now, but do they have potential? Because let's face it, if I'm going to build a practice over the next, well, if I'm you guys, say 30 years, I figure I got, you know, at least 20 or so now, I just said 30. I want them to grow with me, right? I want my clients to grow. You know, I mean, let's face it, I want people that are going to be growing. And so for me, personally, as I've been in the business, I look for people that are entrepreneurial. I look for people that are big thinkers. I look for people that are, you know, just upperly mobile. They're involved in the community as well as their organizations. So I just look for people that have economic potential, just potential in general, okay? The second is I look for people that have, rank high in a scale of intelligence. Now, that might seem kind of like, all right, what does that mean? Well, not everybody does rank high on that scale. And to be honest with you, if you're, you know, there's only, let's face it, if you look at our business model, okay, we have a 5-year model that very specifically laid out, like just like if you were going to start a McDonald's franchise, you would know exactly how long to fry the fries and what the sauce is on the burger and the Big Mac and all that, right? We have exactly that formula for the first 5 years of this business, okay? And as you know, any business, the first 5 years is a critical time in business, right? We have it laid out exactly what you have to do. And if you do that exactly the way that we show you, at the end of 5 years, you will have about 400 to 500 clients, all right? If there's 5.5 million people in a 50-mile radius around our office, shouldn't I make those 400 to 500 people the very best, smartest people I can? Why not? I mean, I can't help everybody. I'm not going to impact 5,000 people in 5 years. I'm not going to impact 50,000 people directly in 5 years. But I can impact 400 to 500. So if I'm gonna build a practice with 400 to 500 people, why not make them the most interesting, coolest people that I could get? And that's our philosophy. And so those people are typically pretty smart. Smart people tend to make good decisions. Smart people are open to information. They're open-minded. And so intelligence. Okay, that's what I mean by that. The third is responsibility. I want people that are responsible. I want people that care about themselves, their future, their family. They have a sense of responsibility that it's their job to provide for their family. It's not the government or it's not somebody else. Okay? I want people that care about their community. I want people that tell me, Dan, my community is important to me. So there's things in the community, whether they're, you know, giving time or money or just getting involved. I want people like that. Those are great people. If they have those three qualities, they're going to be a great client. And eventually they're going to have a lot of money, and eventually they're going to be, you know, all the things we want to do with them. They're also going to lead us to new clients, because you don't just stop, you know, in year 5 with your 400 to 500 clients. You're going to keep growing. We've got people in our office that have, you know, they have 4,000 or 5,000 clients now in their careers. That's exciting. You know, it's exciting to have that kind of people that you're making an impact with. That, you know, the interesting thing is, in our business, many of our clients, they will call us and tell us things before they tell anybody else in their life. They'll call us and tell us before they tell their spouses sometimes, before they tell their pastors, before they tell their business partners. You know, there's a lot of psychology that goes into our business. You know, we're helping people to create habits that are going to help them achieve financial security in their life. And you don't change people's habits without really understanding their motivations and understanding what's important to them. And so that's a big part of what we do. And to me, I like that. You know, I like to sit down and get to know people and find out what they're all about. So we don't have any hard line minimums in terms of assets or anything. We think that's a major advantage for us. We're getting a ton of clients because we don't have that. I understand why some companies have instituted those things, but I think that ultimately we are much better positioned to win. And I think I will answer your question with this too. This is really our value proposition. If you look at this little pyramid here, this is the the financial pyramid of financial needs, or is one of what we refer to it as. But you know, the reason why we are unique and why we can take this approach, okay, is because most firms operate from the orange up. All right, and that way of operating has worked really well for them for a lot of years. But guess what? Guess what everybody realizes today? There's risk in the world. oh, wait a minute. If I invest my money in the stock market, I could lose money. Oh. Nobody ever told. So we have always been experts at addressing this risk management issue. And guess what? If you address risk management properly, you can work with clients a lot younger, a lot sooner. You can work with small startup businesses sooner. You can get in the door sooner. Because they need to address this stuff sometimes before they've even made any money to accumulate wealth, right? So we can get in to work with these people so much sooner because of our value proposition. And then guess what? Once they're at the point where they start to accumulate wealth, do you think our clients are really loving the fact that they got a solid foundation of risk management today? They love it. They're loving us. They think we're unbelievable. I mean, I get people that call me. They're like, Dan, I got a dividend, and none of my other friends are getting dividends, or you know, and is this right? And I'm like, yeah, it's good. You know, it's okay. So, you know, so it just, you know, stuff like that. I mean, the recent events have just really validated how we do things and what we do and how we approach it. But I think that's a very important point to your question. In order for us to do what we are doing in attracting and getting clients younger and sooner, it's because we address that risk management stuff. See, all the other companies, they looked at it and they said, you know, we're going to start up here because the wealth management stuff's sexier. That's what people want to talk about. That's what they get, you know, that's what people get all excited about. But what they don't realize is that just like if you're going to build a house, if you're going to build a house, your favorite room in the house, let's say, is going to be your kitchen. Maybe you like to cook. It's going to be a really, really nice kitchen. What if you went to your builder and said, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Builder, I know you're going to build my house, but could you build my kitchen first and then come back and dig the foundation? Now, I don't know if that's possible or not. I would assume maybe it would be somehow, but it would be ridiculous, right? It wouldn't make any sense. Same thing with a financial plan. And that's what people are woken up to today. Yeah, I want to talk about the sexy stuff. Yeah, I want to accumulate wealth and I want these things in my life, but I want to protect what I have. Successful people that go to work every day and do what they do and do well at it, they're more concerned about a return of their money than a return on their money. And that's what people are realizing today. Our clients are telling us that they have a bigger and bigger appreciation for safer dollars. They want to work with somebody that can help them put together a comprehensive financial strategy and not just somebody that show up to share with them a bunch of speculative things that may or may not be there when they need them in the times they need them most. Okay? So, hopefully that answers your question. That's a good question. I forget to bring it up sometimes because that is unique about the industry. And that's changed a little bit in the industry. Other thoughts, questions? Fire away.
Sorry, kind of good question. What if someone doesn't have a lot of financial or economic background? You know, how kind of easy or could be, or how difficult is it to pick this product thing or this career up?
Sure. Yeah, another good question. We feel very strongly that the financial part of the business is the easiest part to learn. I happen to be a finance major coming into the business, but I can tell you that I needed to be completely retrained on everything they pretty much taught me. I mean, unfortunately, the corporate finance curriculums are you know, they're some schools. I'd be honest with you, I think the University of Akron is one of them. They're looking to change some of these things, some of the feedback we're giving them. But if you don't have to have a finance background or something to come into this type of business. Let me tell you what people are looking for. We've done a significant amount of research on this, and what our clients are telling us is that they want 4 things from a financial advisor. Okay, and if you understand these 4 things, it's easier to understand how somebody, perhaps like you guys, that don't have a significant amount of financial background could come in and make an impact. Okay, the first thing they say is our clients tell us is they want one person that they feel is going to take the time to understand them better than anybody else in their life. They want somebody that's going to sit down and learn about them and fact find them and understand what's important to them. And let me tell you, don't think that that's not true. I mean, think about it. People want somebody to listen to them. People want somebody sitting across the table from them that know that they understand what they're trying to do. Okay? That's the first thing. And that could be any one of you. The second thing is they want that person to be part of an organization that will allow them to have access to specialists in all the different areas that they need. So the bottom line is they don't want one person doing everything for them. They want one person to understand them and to give them access to the specialists that are going to provide them the expert advice that they need in all the different areas they need. The third thing is they want somebody that has a dynamic planning process that evolves and is going to pick up the changing circumstances in their lives over time, and it's not going to be, it's going to be a value added. So it's not going to be something that's just a static thing. It's a process. We're built on it. It's a planning process. Okay, and then the fourth thing is they want somebody that can deliver world-class financial planning products and services to them. That's what they want. So what we know about the marketplace is people aren't sitting out there saying, well, I want a guy like Dan to come in and know everything there is to know about everything and be my guy. As a matter of fact, people are actually skeptical of that. If I showed up and said, hey Barbara, I everything you need, I can take care of it. No problems at all. You're going to be like, Dan's full of himself, but man, that full of himself? No, it's just not realistic, right? But hey, you know what? I want Dan to know my situation and take the time to understand my family better than anybody else. And if Dan knows that, I know that Dan is part of an organization that he's going to be able to bring in the resources, the people, and all the planning tools that we need to get this done. That's what I'm looking for. And do I trust Dan? Do I believe in Dan? And does Dan have integrity? Right? And that's kind of where that comes from. So, so the answer to your question is we feel very strongly that you do not have to have a significant financial background. As a matter of fact, we are one of the only companies in the industry today that are still bringing people in, brand new, into the industry. Most companies are cannibalizing each other, and they're stealing people. I get 4 or 5 phone calls a day on my voicemail. Hey, Dave, I'd love to have you come over. We know you run the Northwestern office over there. You guys are the most successful office in Northeast Ohio, but we want you to come over. We'll pay you to run our. I get them 4 or 5 a day. Every single person in our office gets 4 or 5 a day. They all want to steal us because they just don't have the systems and they don't have the development, the training and development. These are the things that Amy talks about in the interview. And feel free to jump in anytime you want. These are the things that I think really make us different. We know how to train you and develop you to help you build a practice. Okay? It's very predictable. 2 myths about our business. One is, if I get into this business, it seems like it'd be unpredictable. It's very predictable. We know exactly what you have to do, boiled down, day to day, what you have to do to build this business. And then the second myth is that if I get into this business, I could maybe not make a lot of money. I could starve for a while. That's not the case. You can make money right away in this business. You can make really good money right away in this business, especially today. You can make good money building your practice right out of the gates today in this environment right now. Those are 2 main big myths I hear a lot. So we are one of the only companies that are bringing people in. We do prefer to bring people in. Not to say we don't look at other people within the industry, but the vast majority of the people we bring are not from in the industry, because we have a very specific way we feel is the right way to build a business in this business. Okay, does that answer that? Okay. Other thoughts, questions? We probably have about 5 minutes here.
Can you talk specifically about the internship program?
Yeah.
How that works?
Yeah, a good way to test drive this career. And as a matter of fact, it's exactly the way that I did it. I told you 15 years ago last month, I started as an intern. I went to Kent State. There was a guy in one of my classes that brought it up to me and said he was in it, and he's actually still a client today. He's not with Northwestern anymore, but he's one of my clients. And, he's an IT guy. It wasn't up his alley for his career, but he's the one who introduced me to it. Saw him a couple weeks ago, and basically, as I said, that's how I got started in the business. And it's a great way to test drive a career because it gives you an opportunity while you're still going to school, whether it's undergrad or law school or whatever, to find out, okay, is this career right for me? I mean, when Amy brings people in and interviews people, I can tell you pretty much every single person you interview that thinks they're right for this says that they're a hard worker, they like working with people, and all this stuff. But very few people really have tested themselves in that way. The internship gives you a chance to find out, could I do this? It gives you a chance to, to test your own abilities, to test the training, to test the culture. It gives us a chance to test you. It's our biggest selection tool. So we put people in the internship because we really want to find out, can this person, do they work hard? Do they take initiative? Are they the things that they say that they have? We want to find that out too. So it's a good mutual test for you and for us to find out if it's a good fit. Statistically, we know that 1 out of 3 of our interns come on board with us full time. Okay, pretty good number. The 2 out of 3 that don't, various reasons, but we're okay with it. We think it's fine. We think those are good numbers. The 1 out of 3 that come on board with us, they are 50% more productive than people that come into the business with us not through the internship in their first 5 years. The first 5 years in the business, somebody who's interned with us, even if they've interned with us for a semester, they are 50% more productive having come through the internship than if they didn't. It's a crazy statistic, but it's just it is one that fits. I mean, if you look around our organization, I mean, a lot of our newer folks, I mean, they came through the internship. And we get you licensed, we pay for you to get licensed, we pay for you to get all the things you need to get your business started and run your business. We teach you how to market yourself. I can tell you that if you came in and you interned with us and for whatever reason you decided to go back into law, the single biggest thing you would learn is how to market yourself and how to network. Another guy in one of my study groups, he's a managing director down in Florida, very successful. He has a saying, he said that if he, it's kind of a goofy one, basically he says, if he got kidnapped and mugged and got dropped off somewhere, as long as they spoke English, within 6 months he could drive a really nice car. Because he knows how to network, he knows how to meet people, and I'm telling you, it's one of the skills that I find, and not just picking on attorneys here today, but I mean just people in general. I mean, you gotta learn how to do that, and I can tell you that if you learn how to do that, that transfers into anything, whether it's law, whether it's other sales, whether it's running your own different type of business. But the ability to network and meet people in a proactive fashion and to add value, that's a big part of what I think our interns get. So even the ones that don't come on board with us for different reasons, they always come back and say, Dan, the most valuable thing I learned was how to meet people and how to network and how to make things happen. And that made them infinitely more marketable when they went to go get the jobs that they were looking for. Okay? We have a little brochure there that just talks about the internship, kind of day in the life of it. We customize the internship for your school schedule, so it is something that you do while you're at school. We have a summer program for the traditional summer students that don't have class, but if you do have class, we understand that. It's designed to go with your school schedule. It is also designed to be a rolling internship, so it's not just a start and stop. Our interns that are successful with us, a lot of them, they've interned with us for 2-3 years. Think about it, they're year 2, 3, by the time they graduate, they've already got 2-3 years into their business. And these guys and gals are doing phenomenal stuff because they started while they were still in school. It's huge for them. So that's a little bit on the internship. So I guess, just to summarize, I would say, number one, think about the training you have in front of you today. Understand the opportunities. It certainly could be the traditional law practice path, law firm path. It certainly could. I'm not here to suggest that it's not. I'm just here to suggest that there is a tremendous opportunity out there today in this country. People are craving for financial security, and they're craving for people that they can sit down with and that will take the time to get to know them and to help deliver that to them. So understand the terrain. Understand the fact that you guys are all leaders today. Whether you feel it or not, you're a leader. The decisions you make today are going to be big for you. Secondly, Northwestern Mutual is uniquely positioned right now to get the clients that are out there, the people that are out there, the younger people, the new people, the established people. I mean, so you know, we think we're working all those markets very well. And then, you know, finally, just for those of you that are intrigued today, if you fill out that little half sheet of paper and get it into us, Amy will call you. We can do one of two things, okay? Number one, Amy will have you in. She'll take you through the interview process for our internship, just like she would anybody else. If you say, hey, you know, I want to do that, but I'd also like to sit down and visit with Dan a little bit too, I'll be happy to do that with you too. And just fact find with you and find out what you're trying to accomplish and what's important to you and what some of your career goals are, and give you some direction, okay? Again, in 15 years, done a lot of things well, screwed up a lot of things, wish I would have done some things differently. The one unique thing about the business, I guess it's an intangible, is that over the course of any given year, I meet pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Intimately with about 500 brand new people a year. So I intimately sit down and get to know about 500 new people a year. So over 15 years, whatever that is, almost 10,000 probably. And so I get the opportunity to really learn a lot about how people have succeeded, how they failed, what has worked, what hasn't worked, how they feel, how their feelings have evolved and changed, how their perceptions have changed. And again, the vast majority of these people then I see on a continual basis, you know, at least once a year, and see how that changes and evolves, and how things work and what doesn't work. And you know, it's a neat, intangible thing about this business. So I'd be happy to share some of that with you and just provide you some insight to the extent you'd like. Okay? Any other thoughts or questions today? Yeah.
Do you have any interest in students that are graduating from law school?
Absolutely. Yep. It doesn't have to be the internship. Yep. So if you're graduating and that's more in your time frame, to give you some perspective, we do have, and Amy's got a little sense of urgency on this. We're looking for 12 brand new full-time financial advisors this year. We already have 6. We have probably 2 right now lined up for training. So we're really looking for 4 more. You know, and probably 1 or 2 of those 4 are going to come from our internship. So to be honest with you, we're looking for, I'm looking for 1 or 2 people that I can put my arm around and say, man, let's go get it done. And the sooner I could do that, the sooner we could just work on next year. Because we do have some very specific growth plans. The vision for our organization, we feel that we have the ability to be the dominant financial services organization in Northeast Ohio. Currently, we have one of the largest market shares. That market share is still small. To give you an idea, our market share is about 1%, which is one of the largest market shares in Northeast Ohio. Our Chicago office has an 11% market share. Think about that, down Chicago, city of Chicago, 11%, we have 1. So St. Louis has like 13. Charlotte, we have like, nationally our market share is 11. Okay, but to put that in perspective, we have 1. Now again, the good news is there's no major competitor in Northeast Ohio. There's nobody that has a bigger market share. But we think we can. As a matter of fact, what they tell us in Milwaukee, we're out of Milwaukee, our home office, we have the biggest market share potential of any area in the country right now. That's our opportunity. And again, you talk to the average person, you know, like I said, most people don't realize you put a 50-mile circle around Akron, there's 5.5 million people. Most people don't know that. You know, they hear the headlines, they hear they hear maybe parents or brothers or sisters correct about the economy and how the economy is no good. But you know, it's a different economy. I did grow up in Akron. When I grew up, you know, you could smell the rubber and see the smoke and all that. All my friends' parents, you know, worked at the rubber companies. You know, it's not like that today. I think actually, thankfully, it's cleaner. It was neat though because there was that presence of, you know, the big corporate America. Today we have less of that, but we still have a lot of that entrepreneurial and small business rooting that's here. I mean, lots of small business, lots of talent, universities, hospitals. So the economy is just changing. If you compare it to Columbus, for example, Columbus has a different look and feel. Columbus has a lot more corporate headquarters. It has more buildings and fancy signs and newer stuff, and so it just has a little bit different look and feel to it. But this is a very neat economy, and it's one of the things that we're really working on through the chamber and through some of the different boards and things I'm on. Being from Akron, I'm interested in promoting it. I think that Akron has a big opportunity. One of the things I also learned is that as I come and do all these classes and ask questions, most of the students say, if I ask, I say, well, how many of you like Northeast Ohio? And a few people raise their hands, and the ones that don't raise their hands, the vast majority of them, the reason they don't like it is why? What do you think? Yeah, the weather. The weather, right? I don't like the weather. Well, and to be honest with you, this is the first year I have not done this in a while, and that's probably why I've been sick as much as I have. But what we do, and I learned this from my former managing partner that I took over for, is if you get into a business that you could take a week off a month, starting in October through April, it makes the rest of the winter fine. So most years, this year's been a little different. My son's had some issues. We just bought a big, huge house and other crap, so we haven't done it. But normally I take a week off every month, starting in October, November, December, January, February, March, April. And if you do that, guess what? The other 3 weeks is fine. So next week I'm going to Arizona. Usually we go to Florida and stuff. We didn't do that. And the next, so this year we didn't do it. And I've been sick with like inner ear and stuff all winter. So I can understand the winter. I'm not a big winter guy, but that is one way to do it. It does make it easier. The years we do that, it makes it a lot easier. So something to think about. Other thoughts, questions? I mean, I'll stick around here. I have a 2 o'clock meeting, but if you guys have some other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I really appreciate the time. And Amy, do you have any thoughts on how you want to follow up with these folks?
Well, if you have a quick second for you to run off to class, there's a back side of it, and it just asks a couple questions regarding, where some of the things, how many things you're involved, and just kind of gives us a better idea of, what some of your strengths are as well. So if you can just fill that out completely as well, and definitely put your number on there, your name and everything like that, and I'll give you a call tomorrow or early next week, and we'll set up a time for you to come in and discuss further opportunities with us.
Yeah, the backside of that, why this is important, we do use it, we score it to see where you fall, but I usually suggest to do it just because you should know the answers to some of these questions. More and more companies are using these little profiles to help determine the fit, personality fit. So I think it's a good exercise just to, if you have something like this, you come to something like this, do those, take those, because you will see these in your selection processes. I think even the law firms are using them now. The technology on these things has come a long way, and it's amazing. I mean, some of these things, this is just a little abbreviated one we give you, but we have one that's got about 150 questions. It's amazing how it picks people. I mean, it's amazing.
While they're filling that out, I have a quick question. What's a typical day like for a financial representative? Is there a typical day? What do you do all day?
Well, one of the things, it's a good question. People ask me that sometimes. There's a couple of different ways I answer them. One is sort of my real answer, and then the second is sort of the book answer. My real answer is I eat all day.
You eat all day?
I eat. Now some of my days are a little different because I run the office. I have some other things. But if I have a typical day where I'm meeting with clients, I meet somebody for breakfast, I meet somebody for coffee, I have them into my office, we have coffee in my office, we go to lunch, I like to eat at nice restaurants, so we eat at a nice restaurant, and I meet somebody for dinner, so I have to try to watch my weight a little bit. So, but I eat a lot, I talk to people, I visit with people, I spend time getting to know them. Now, as a brand new financial representative, just to give you a little more of a sort of a book answer, as a brand new financial representative in our organization, you're going to basically start your day every day at 7:30. There's certain habits that we're going to help you get into, not necessarily habits that are consistent with your time going to college, but we got to help you get into them. And one of them is to get in the office at 7:30. From 7:30 to 9 every day, you're going to have some type of training or accountability meeting with your mentor, field director, or myself. From 9 to 10, you're going to be on the phone calling people and setting up appointments, getting your appointments set. You gotta have appointments with somebody to meet people. I mean, you could be Warren Buffett, but you got nobody to talk to. Nobody, you know, what good is it? So you got to get on the phone. You got to make some appointments. You got to set some stuff up. From 10 o'clock on is pretty much it's how things fall for you. So on a typical day, you want to see 3 people a day. Okay? To put this into some perspective, the typical family practice physician sees 30 to 50 patients a day. You guys, in order to be, if you wanted to be wildly successful in this business, you would need to sit down face to face with 3 people a day. These 3 people don't necessarily need to buy from you or become a client or tell you how great you are. You just need to sit down with 3 people face to face every day. Okay? We know that in order for you to see 3 people a day, you're going to need to schedule about 6. Because about half, on a typical day, half your people will get sick, get called to work, whatever, issues, whatever. So if you want to net 3, you got to schedule 6. So your typical day is 7:30 to 9, training, accountability. 9 to 10, you're making some phone calls. The rest of the day, you're out seeing people and meeting people. And if you do that every day, every working day, we know for a new financial representative, there's about 220 working days. If you subtract 365, you subtract out weekends, holidays. If you subtract out, we want you to take at least 3 to 4 vacations your first year. Professional development days. Okay, you're going to net out about 220 working days. So if you see 3 people a day for 220 working days in a year, you could be very successful at this business. And have a lot less indigestion and heartburn than the family practice doctors. I mean, that's one of the challenges for those folks is they don't even make a profit until they've seen their 31st patient in a day. Because all their overhead, insurance, and problems, and issues, and billing, and that's part of it. So I just put that in perspective because it's not that hard. Out of those 3 people a day, you're gonna have lots of them that are gonna become clients. You're gonna have lots of them that aren't gonna become clients. You're gonna have lots of them that aren't gonna become clients that will become clients. So learning how to follow up with people and learning how to have a good contact system is huge. And those are all things we train you and teach you, show you, have for you, build for you, those types of things. So you learn how to do that. That's a very important skill. You can do that.
And if I could just add something about, one of my favorite things to talk about in the interview is about the culture in the Akron office. As an intern, I'll get to it full time in a second. As an intern, you get to do some really neat things. I know he touched on relationship building and networking. Our interns join us for our annual meeting out to Milwaukee every July. And if you do it all through the school year, we have a regional meeting in Chicago as well. And so we go out to that. Did he give you his information? Okay, I want to make sure I got it. So they get to do that, and they get to meet people throughout the whole entire company and the whole country. And that's just a really great opportunity for them as well. They spend a lot of time doing things together. I mean, this is kind of like the fun part, side of everything. The Leslies have barbecues at their house. They go down to Fridays on Friday afternoons, things like that. I've been told that, a full-time employee will average eventually 6 to 8 weeks of vacation. Just some of those neat things that don't necessarily happen in every type of career that you get. And also the people in the Akron office is a really great mixture of people who've been around for about 20, 25, 30 years to people who, like yourselves, are just getting started. So there's a really great mixture of people who can be great mentors for you and you get some really great advice, and also people that you can just get in there and compete with and roll your sleeves up and find a healthy competition with them as well. So it's a really, really fun culture. And I think that's really important, especially in our age. We want to work hard and play hard, and that's exactly what you do. So.
Good point. Good point. Absolutely. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see some of you guys again in the future, and we talk it through and find out if it's a good fit for you. I think I'm very excited. I really appreciate the fact that Barbara having us in, and I think it could be a great partnership with us down the road, just to come in and float this opportunity out to your students every semester and get it on the radar screen, because, and then depending on, you know, if you guys come in, depending on where you go with it, I can certainly put you in touch with some of the other people at some of our different offices that are coming in from the legal world and why they're making the change. And, you know, it's, yeah, I mean, if the idea of working in a career where you work, you know, 9 months out of the year like a teacher, but you get paid like a CEO, if that's intriguing.
Okay, sign me up.
Now you gotta work, you gotta build it, but I can tell you it works. I mean,
I work like a CEO and I get paid like a teacher.
I know. It's a pretty, and there's some reasons why. I mean, we'll show you the financials of the business and how it works and how you build, how you build a business in it. And, but yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, John Adams, for example, he's on the board of trustees for the University of Akron. You know, John and his wife, they got the Honors College Amphitheater, and is named after them. That was named after them a couple weeks ago. And you know, John works with a lot of doctors. It's kind of one of his little niches, and does a lot in the community. And they have a lake house they go to every weekend. You never see them; they're gone in the summer. And, but it's neat. It's just it's one of those that, you know, even for me when I was young, it wasn't on my radar screen. And we're just trying to suggest get it on your radar screen. Okay? Great to see you guys. Thanks a lot for coming. Hope it was helpful.
It's nice to meet you.
Okay, nice to meet you.
I want to do this to the viewer.
Give it to Amy.
Nice to meet you. I like your Akron shirt.
Yeah, I like that shirt too.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks a lot for having us. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I like your shirt. That's different.
Yeah.
It's
Very
all,
fun.
yeah,
Where'd you get that?
Rubber City clothing.
Ah, very cool.
My mom told me today when I put it on, she's like, they spelled Coca-Cola wrong.
Mom. Do you have any extra stuff with me? Any extra more? List of you, so
Yeah.
that's great. And I can put a note
If
on
there's somebody
your
who couldn't
newsletter.
be here, yeah.
Right, I can put a note on your newsletter. That I have extras, and then
Sure.
they can either forward them directly to you or hand them to me, and I can.
We'll get in touch somehow. I know. I'll stay in touch with you for sure.
Yeah.